I used to babysit for extra cash. It was a side hustle I picked up in college, and for the most part, it was easy money. Kids, pets, the occasional overnight gig, nothing I couldn't handle. But there was one family I'll never forget. One night that still gives me chills when I think about it. The family's name was the Hendersons. They lived in this old, sprawling house on the edge of town. The kind of house that looked like it belonged in a horror movie. Creaky floors, dim lighting, and way too many rooms. Mrs. Henderson had reached out to me through a babysitting app. She said they needed someone to watch their 8-year-old son, Eli, for the night while she and her husband attended a charity event. Eli's a sweet kid, she told me over the phone. He's just shy, takes a while to warm up to people. I didn't think much of it at the time. Kids are kids, right? Some are outgoing, some are quiet. No big deal. When I arrived that evening, Mrs. Henderson greeted me at the door. She was polite, but seemed a little off, like she was distracted or nervous about something. She showed me around the house quickly, pointing out Eli's room, the kitchen, and the living room where I could hang out. Eli's already in his room, she said. He knows you're here, but he might not come out for a while. Just let him come to you. I nodded, thinking it was a little strange, but not unheard of. Some kids are like that. They need time to adjust to a new babysitter. Before she left, Mrs. Henderson handed me a piece of paper. This is our emergency contact info, she said. And just, if anything happens, call us immediately. Don't call the police. Just call us. I frowned. Is there something I should know about? She hesitated, then forced a smile. No, just, Eli has nightmares sometimes. He sleepwalks. If he gets up, just guide him back to bed. He'll be fine. Okay, I thought. Sleepwalking. Not ideal, but manageable. The Hendersons left around 7 p.m., and I settled into the living room with my laptop. The house was eerily quiet. No TV, no music, just the occasional creak of the floorboards. I tried to focus on my homework, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Around 8:30, I heard a noise from upstairs. A soft thud, like something had fallen. I paused, listening. Then I heard it again. Eli, I called out. No response. I got up and walked to the bottom of the stairs. Eli, are you okay? Still nothing. I climbed the stairs slowly, my heart starting to race. When I reached the top, I saw Eli's door was slightly ajar. I pushed it open and peeked inside. The room was dark, but I could see Eli sitting on the floor in the corner, facing the wall. He was completely still. Hey, buddy, I said softly. You okay? He didn't answer. I stepped into the room, my pulse quickening. Eli, it's me, your babysitter. Everything's okay. He turned his head slowly, and when I saw his face, I froze. His eyes were wide, unblinking, and completely black. No whites, no pupils, just pure, inky blackness. I stumbled back, my breath catching in my throat. Eli? He stood up, his movements jerky and unnatural. He took a step toward me, and I instinctively backed out of the room, pulling the door shut behind me. I stood there for a moment, my heart pounding. What the hell was that? Was I imagining things? I took a deep breath and opened the door again, half expecting Eli to be back in his corner, acting normal. But he wasn't. He was standing right in front of the door, staring at me with those black eyes. I screamed and slammed the door shut, locking it from the outside. My hands were shaking as I fumbled for my phone. I called Mrs. Henderson, my voice trembling as I explained what had happened. Calm down, she said, her tone surprisingly calm. It's just one of his episodes. He'll be fine. Just stay downstairs. Don't go back up there. What do you mean, episodes? I demanded. What's wrong with him? There was a long pause. Then she said, we'll be home soon. Just stay downstairs. The call ended, and I was left standing there, my mind racing. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to run out of the house and never look back. But another part of me felt responsible for Eli. What if he was sick? What if he needed help? I decided to wait it out. I went back to the living room and sat on the couch, my eyes glued to the stairs. Every creak, every sound made me jump. An hour passed, then 2. The Hendersons still weren't back. Around midnight, I heard footsteps on the stairs. Slow, deliberate footsteps. I stood up, my heart in my throat. Eli, no response. The footsteps continued, getting closer. I backed toward the front door, my hand reaching for the handle. Then I saw him. Eli was standing at the bottom of the stairs, his black eyes fixed on me. In his hand, he held a pair of scissors. Eli, put that down, I said, my voice shaking. He didn't move, just stared at me, his expression blank. I reached for my phone, but before I could dial, Eli lunged at me. I screamed and dodged out of the way, running for the front door. I yanked it open and bolted outside, not stopping until I was halfway down the street. I called Mrs. Henderson again, my voice frantic. Your son just tried to attack me. What the hell is going on? There was a long silence. Then she said, "We'll be home in 10 minutes. Just stay where you are." I waited outside, shivering in the cold, until the Hendersons' car pulled into the driveway. Mrs. Henderson got out first, her face pale. "I'm so sorry," she said. "Eli, he's not well. We should have warned you." "Not well," I repeated, my voice rising. "He has black eyes and tried to stab me with scissors." "What's wrong with him?" Mr. Henderson stepped forward, his expression grim. "Eli's been different since the accident. We've tried everything, but he's not the same." "What accident?" I demanded. They exchanged a look, then Mrs. Henderson said, "Last year, Eli fell into a coma after a car crash. When he woke up, he was like this. The doctors don't know what's wrong with him." I stared at them, my mind reeling. "You should have told me," I said. "I could have been hurt. He could have been hurt." "We're sorry," Mrs. Henderson said again. We didn't want to scare you away. We need the help." I shook my head. "I'm done. I can't do this." I left that night and never went back. I still think about Eli sometimes, about what could have caused him to change like that. But some things are better left unanswered.